I'm back. I didn't leave you hanging. This is Vic here. I want to go over last week's hunting trip. Adirondacks. There was only 3 of us this weekend. Trip number 2 for the year. Second weekend out. Let me just update you here. Maybe you guys can relate with me. The guy's been pushing the mountains pretty hard. First weekend, not a lot of sign. Maybe some rubs on some trees. No scrapes the first weekend. Second weekend out, we have rubs on trees. They're starting to make some scrapes. We located some scrapes. We found a good run. We're going to be moving one of our cameras, well, 2 of our cameras, 2 different areas, actually 2 different mountainsides, onto these runs and where the scrapes and rubs are. So we're studying it. I'm guessing third strike. If we can if the weather is a little better this coming weekend, we're going to get ourselves on a buck and we're going to try to get one. We're going to have a couple more guys this weekend. It should be 4 or 5 guys in the woods instead of 3. Back to trip number 2 this past weekend, the 3 of us. Friday, stayed in the tent, kind of shopped around there, set up a coyote trap. No luck. It was on a good run, but where one of our cameras are, but no luck. That was Friday night. Saturday, up early. Beautiful weather. Saturday. I have to edit this. Oh, sorry about that. Had a little distraction. It was good weather. We had good weather on Saturday. It was pretty clear. It was chilly in the morning. Got out there. Did a couple drives over some mountains. Found out some new spots here. And that's when we discovered most of our new runs and scrape lines and stuff. I'm going to show you some new video here. Hopefully if I can figure out how to do this, because my editing, I am working on editing. It's tough for me, so we'll figure it out. From an SD card to my cell phone and then to YouTube. But I'm going to try to get it off this new camera, the Canon. And while I was making a couple of the drives, I had it here on a little tripod. This thing's all adjustable. You can collapse it right down, put it right in your bag. So I just zip this baby out, and we're ready to roll. So that's what I've been trying to take some video with, along with the GoPro on my head. I have the GoPro, and then the camera on my phone too. So there's 3 different things going on. It's a little complicated, but that was Saturday. Saturday the weather stayed pretty good. Made some drives. No luck. Later in the afternoon, we're making a drive, and I hear it sounded like blue jays, and they come flying in over my head. Now keep in mind the camera's sitting in my bag right next to me. I'm ready. I got everything ready. The birds come flying in, and this owl. I look up into the trees just above me, not even 15 yards, maybe 10 yards away, maybe a couple trees over. I look up, there's an owl. The thing was standing at least, I don't know, 12, 18 inches tall. The thing was huge and beautiful. As I'm reaching over, I'm trying to get this thing, and I'm hiding behind a tree. Right in front of me there's a tree, and I'm trying to get this thing like this. By the time I grabbed it, I peeked my head out again. The thing saw me, and I almost had it on camera. It would have been unbelievable. Them are the shots I'm looking for. I'm telling you, it's the same for me. There's a challenge to get wildlife on camera, and I have little clips over the years of all kinds of critters, birds and things making sounds, and a little critter, anything. I got them all. So it's always a little challenge to try to get it right at that moment. You're sitting there and there ain't nothing going on for hours, and all of a sudden you got all this commotion in the woods, and there's an owl 10 yards from me. Never seen one like that up close and personal. And now that I got this thing, I could have zoomed right up and had an awesome shot. I had a red-tailed hawk once in my mother's house. Me and my father, a little quick story about me and my father. He goes, "Go get your camera." Now I had a film camera with a real, I think it was like a 300 millimeter zoom on it, and I walked across my lawn, across the road to the neighbor's house, and the red-tailed hawk was eating a squirrel on a lawn, and I got within 10 feet of it, and it was putting on a show. It was unbelievable. It was awesome. But not to get sidetracked, but Saturday, back to Saturday, we get back to the tent. We eat a big hearty dinner again. We start having some shots of some whiskey. That was cool. We had some, didn't get too crazy. Stayed nice and warm. And then we hear the sprinkling of the rain. Started Saturday, later in the evening. Got to bed nice and early. Sunday morning comes. We sleep in a little bit because it's pouring out. We figure, well, we'll sleep in, get some good rest, and then we'll start hunting. I hung around camp, actually, and did my little chores and just sharpening up, getting all my stuff and, my head, straight, and just thinking. Sometimes being out there in the woods ain't all about hunting. It's about getting your mind right, I'm looking back in time. This past week was 4 years I lost my father. It's unbelievable. It's still mind-blowing to me. It almost jerks me to tears, but we move on, But I'm thinking of all these skills that my father, I'm his right-hand man, So all these skills, I'm putting them together, and we're out there in the woods. Can you believe it? I can't believe it still, And I'm trying to capture some of this stuff for you guys because it's, it's something that maybe most people don't get to do. I wish I could take people with me hunting, but I guess that's what family's for. Take your family out hunting if you can. The youngsters, bring them out there, practice your First and Second Amendment, all your amendments. And I did get a comment today, a guy, this all started, if you go back on all my videos, we were scouting this spot out in the middle of the winter. It was about January, and we all had rifles and shotguns and sidearms. So we're practicing our rights. Number one, Second Amendment right, to bear arms, familiaring ourselves with our weapons. Two, the 22s that they had. My buddy Austin explains right when the video starts, the 22 is what they used for snowshoe hare. They used 22s like that. Open sights, when a dog would run them or they would kick them up. Snowshoe hare, you just get it with a 22. Doesn't waste too much meat. Perfect shot. Beautiful. That's what they do in the Adirondacks when you're shooting hare. I'm used to having a shotgun. I'm more of the regular rabbits, just a regular brown rabbit. We use 20 gauge shotguns, so I roll with a 20 gauge shotgun. My buddy Chris had a 20 gauge, or I believe he had a 10 or a 20 gauge or a 12 gauge with bird shot. So at that time of the year, you can still get some ruffled feathered grouse, and by the end of the day, we kicked one up. I took a shot at it. I think I shot twice actually. Boom, boom, with the bird shot. Beautiful, And you have your sidearm just in case for any critter trying to eat you, So we that's what we did. It's awesome. Not to get sidetracked again, but here I'm going to get sidetracked again. The editing for these has been a little tough for me. The SD cards, I'm working on that. I told you that already. The Garmin, you can see it. It's the GPS Map 64 ST. This baby is awesome. So I run my compass in one hand. I checked it out with the, where I'm at on the map, and then I have a map, topographical map, and I'm checking it where I'm in the woods. We did 15 miles again, roughly, maybe a little less this past weekend, trip number 2. So we're putting miles down. That Garmin there's AA batteries. I already went out. I ain't playing around. Look, went and got more batteries. So I'm not bringing them all with me, but I should have a pair, fresh pair in the device before we leave, and one in my bag. That's one thing. 2 compasses, obviously. One's in my pocket, one's in my bag. Always run like that. We've been running walkie-talkies so we can keep in track of ourselves where we're at, and if you see any action, you can keep in contact. This little guy's been awesome. Just a little head-mounted light, hands-free, it's what you need. And a flashlight is always nice, but I rolled this. This thing lasts pretty good. It's got AAA batteries in it, 4 of them. Wish they were AA's, but they're triples. Not a problem. The Irish setters here, the Red Wings, they got about 30 miles already on them or more in 2 weekends. So we're laying them down. The only thing I can explain to you guys about these guys, the Irish setters, right here, right in this area, right where this boot, when you get your foot in there and it creases, see that little crease? When you bend your, you bend your foot right here. I had to break this boot in, I think, and it was my left foot right at the joint of your foot, you know, your ankle. It was just tearing me up. But I learned that if you don't lace it as tight right in here, and just the top ones, you tighten them up nice, leave this loose, and then just kind of bear down on these on the bottom, you'll have no problem. I walked through multiple swamps with these, over creeks, pouring rain Sunday. It was pouring rain all day Sunday, actually. I forgot to tell you that. The boys actually went out and hunted in the morning. I stayed at the camp. But we had to walk out, and then we hunted the rest of the afternoon on the way out of there. We pushed a whole mountain top over. A lot of sign, too, on that. But boots were good. Tried some Army, like a Gore-Tex jacket. That stayed pretty well dry, but it started getting wet. Let's see what else. I was soaked. Everybody was soaked. Our guns were soaked. I mean, it was just dripping right off us on Sunday, but bear with us. We're going to have about 4 to 5 guys in the woods this coming weekend. Trip number 3 coming up in the Adirondacks, and we're hoping that trip number 3 brings in the big boy, and we can get our tag filled at hunting camp. Unbelievable. Stay tuned, and any other reviews, if I can come up with it, leave it in the comments about our gear or anything we're doing. Let me know. But hopefully you're going to get some bucks hanging in the trees, baby. And we're after it. We're going to get it this year, and that's the way it's going to go.